All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We have Sean Clifford here for his media availability. As always, just use the raise hand feature if you have any questions, and we can start with Tyler Donahue.
Hey, good afternoon, Sean. How are you? I wanted to ask about the progress of this team overall through 2 weeks and just kind of what you feel the group has learned about itself from a veteran like you down to some of the new contributors.
Yeah, I think that, just going over the tape, from an offensive perspective, I think that we've learned, obviously being efficient on first and second down is a huge factor in the game. I think that we've seen that playing out pretty well because once we get in third and short, we're pretty good there. We've comparing the first game to the second game, wasn't efficient in the first half and first and second down. The second half came out much more efficient. And then the second game, extremely efficient on first down, score a lot of points. So that's huge. And then I think that the other big thing is securing the football and no turnovers, just because that was a point of emphasis, obviously, in the offseason. But now with us doing so well with it so far, I think that we're seeing the repercussions in a good way. So
We'll go to Rich Scarcella. Mark Brennan, you're on deck.
Hey, Sean. How are you today?
Good. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Hey, Sean, in what ways are you a better quarterback since Mike Yurcich got there?
I think that, he's pushed me in a lot of different areas. I've learned a lot from each offense coordinator that I've had. So I think that, Coach Yurcich has brought a lot of different philosophies to me and to this team. And I think that it's hard to say why I'm better because of him specifically. I think that I'm better because I work hard too. That it's not just like the offense coordinator comes in and just changes the game for, everybody. I think that the way that we worked this offseason also proves why we're playing well, and why we have so much confidence. So, I mean, it's hard to say, I would say.
Go to Mark Brennan.
Thanks for your time, Sean.
Yeah, no problem.
I know you guys don't live in a vacuum. As a leader, how do you react when all the stuff about James Franklin and USC is out there? Do you just ignore it? Do you talk to the younger guys? How do you deal with that during a big game week? Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, Coach Franklin talked to us yesterday, just addressed the topic. I don't think that, it's anything that we need to worry about. It's something that is kind of out of our hands. So, we're just going to focus on Auburn and then go from there. And, we're really excited about what we got on the table this week. So, we're not going to let outside sources change our game plan or our thought process on the game.
Go to New Bias Wilborn. Joe Giuliano, you're on deck.
Hey, thanks for the time as always. That Tony Montana there?
Tony Montana.
I love it, man. Tony Montana. Yes, sir. All right, so check it, man. Where have you seen your game elevate the most over the last year? I know you talked about not having turnovers, but where else have you seen yourself really evolve?
I think just being efficient with the football is the biggest growth area that I've had so far. I think that getting through progressions faster, being smarter with the football, checking the ball down when I need to, finding the escape routes, just being a smarter football player. I feel extremely confident and extremely experienced when it comes to seeing looks, recognizing coverages, and then making plays in the short amount of time that I have in the pocket. So I feel really good, and honestly getting better every week. I felt like the week 1 to week 2 progress for myself was very substantial, along with the offense as well. So we're looking to build on that in week 3.
Joe Giuliano, Audrey Snyder, you're on deck.
Hi, Sean. I know this new offense, features a lot of formations and different, personnel groupings. we know how much you are dedicated to preparing for games and stuff. I just wondered, is this offense like the hardest one you've had to learn? And has that called for like more study that you've had to do to be successful in it?
My process hasn't really changed throughout the years. I've learned from a lot of great quarterbacks what it takes to get ready and prepared for a game. So, there's different terminology, different things that you have to look at, but from a game prep, I feel like I'm prepping the maximum amount of time, regardless of how hard an offense is. I think that, I put in enough time and effort throughout the days leading up to the game where nothing's going to confuse me, or I'm going to make sure that I'm 100% on our game plan and what they're doing. So, no, I wouldn't say it's any more difficult this year.
Audrey Snyder, Nate Bauer, you're on deck.
Hey, Sean, thanks for your time. When you kind of look at this Auburn defense, what stands out to you and what can you kind of tell us about their secondary?
Yeah, I think that, it starts up front. Obviously, it always starts up front. They got some big dudes, but also super athletic up front. Got some guys that can bend the edge, attack the pass rush, and get downhill. I think that their linebackers are definitely a strong suit of their offense. Number 0, Owen is extremely talented linebacker, and number 9 as well. They both play with a lot of tenacity, a lot of grit, play downhill, super athletic guys. So, obviously those are things that you got to take into consideration. And then when it comes to the defensive backs, I think that they're really talented in the secondary. But we're like we always are. We're excited for the challenge, and we'll be ready by Saturday.
Go to Nate Bauer next.
Hey, Sean. I know this is a little off topic, but if you'll indulge me, it seems like you've been really proactive in the NIL space. What prompted that? Like, what gave you that mindset to take that approach, and how have you felt it's gone to this point?
Yeah, I think that so when the NIL began, I knew that it would be a great opportunity for myself and the community, and the guys around me, my teammates, just to get your name out there and use your platform for the best of your ability. And because obviously we haven't been able to do that in the past. So, I set up a pretty good team of people around me. And we worked pretty hard during the month of July leading up to, fall camp, because I knew that in fall camp and going into the season, I did not really want to deal with it. So I feel like I got a pretty good team around me that I don't really need to look at social media. I don't really anymore. They're making sure that I'm getting the posts that I need out. They're timing everything up. I just dropped like a merchandise line today, and they did everything for me. So I feel like I've gotten a pretty good grip of everything. Definitely, I would say helped myself and my teammates around me with how I've gone about my business. And I think that that's one of the things that I wanted to kind of focus on is kind of create a starting point for Penn Staters, like, and soon to be Penn State athletes. So that way, I could maybe be a role model for guys in the future with NIL. So, when you're starting to get to college, how do you go about looking for deals? But at the same time, a lot of it's going to be during the season. So how do you balance it with football? Because obviously football needs to be the number one and only really priority. And then everything else just needs to fall in behind. And I feel like I've done a pretty good job of balancing everything and having a team behind me that helps with that.
Go to Donnie Collins. Greg Pickle, you're on deck.
John, how exactly have you gone about securing the football better, even dating back to second half of last year? What's the preparation been like? How has preparation maybe changed in that regard? And do you think it's the biggest kind of difference with the offense this year?
I think it's definitely one of the biggest differences. I mean, I had like 9 interceptions last year, and when we were losing games, I was throwing, I think it was like average of 2 or 3 interceptions a game. And now through 2 games, we have 0 turnovers as a whole. I mean, that right there just goes to show you how important the ball is, securing the ball and respecting the ball. But I think it's more just talking about it. It's really undervalued how important it is just to talk about the ball being the program and the importance of securing it and making sure that, you're not putting it in harm's way, or at risks that maybe aren't worth taking. So I think it's communication and just working at it every day, making sure that if you do turn the ball over in practice, there's a very specific reason, and it wasn't a dumb reason. And I think that's the most important for us, at least so far.
Go to Travis Johnson. Ryan John Parsons, you're on deck.
Sean, I'm wondering when you're tasked with preparing for a team that's going to bring a whole new coaching staff and maybe hasn't had to show a whole lot on defense the first 2 weeks. Where do you start in terms of your film study? How do you make sure that you're getting the most efficient looks at whatever it may be?
Yeah, I think that you got to kind of go back through the coach's history and watch a little bit of their tape from there. But in the end, you're gonna see schemes that are. It's not like people are reinventing the wheel. They're gonna play what they play. They're gonna have wrinkles like every team does. No team comes into a game with the same exact game plan as the one before, as the same way that our offense isn't going to come out and run the same plays that we did last week. So football is football. The game's going to evolve, but at the same time, you just got to be able to adjust on the fly, and that's why this game's so much fun to me, is because you can have a game plan and then you got to make adjustments at halftime and on the field and all that, and it's fun to be able to work through that with your teammates.
Ryan John Parsons, Andrew Penwell, you're on deck.
Hey, Sean. So how did the whiteout and just Beaver Stadium's atmosphere in general impact your decision to come to Penn State during the recruiting process?
I think that it was definitely a cool experience, I would say, and one that it's, not many people get to experience. Like you can't watch the whiteout on TV and say that you've been seen the whiteout, because you got to be here to experience it. And I truly believe that, because it's one of those experiences that are jaw dropping, awe inspiring, just a sense of community that you really can't feel anywhere else. But there's a lot of reasons I came to school here. There's, the alumni, the academics, the athletics, the people around, the coaches, the players. So to say that it was just because of one game would be lying, but, it's definitely something that is completely different than any atmosphere anywhere else. So.
Andrew Penwell.
Hey, Sean, so you talked about the linebackers, but what are the challenges of going up against the size and speed of some of those SEC defenders, especially opposed to some of the guys from Ball State?
I think that every team is going to have talent. And, I haven't played Auburn specifically yet, but I can see on tape that they have guys that are super athletic and physical, and they play hard-nosed football. But at the same time, we're excited to play our game, and that's what we kind of pride ourselves on, is being blue collar and physical football players. So, we're excited for the challenge, and just excited to keep working throughout the week to be prepared for Saturday.
Go back to Tyler Donahue. Mark Brennan, you're up next.
Yeah, Sean, we got a longer look at Keyvon Lee last Saturday. What did he do this year that's got you excited about his role in this offense? And how is he different than the guy who took over that running back spot late last season?
I think that, Keyvon is learning a lot. I think that he's got room to grow, but his body type and his size and his strength is really impressive, just because, it seems sometimes I'll be back there carry out my fake or whatever. And then he's still breaking tackles and making people miss and whatnot. And it's cool to see from my perspective, just because I'm, he runs so well. He runs with a low center of body, low center of gravity. And that puts him in a really good position to make people miss. So, I think that he's still young at the position, still learning, but he's done a lot of great things so far.
Mark Brennan, Rich Scarcella, you're next.
Sean, I noticed I think you were taking some snaps from Juice in the game. Was that just to get him some reps at that position? And can you talk about kind of where he is now as that starting guard, coming from where he was a couple years ago in a difficult spot? Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, Juice is one of those guys who I have the utmost respect for. I think everybody in the program has a crazy amount of respect for Juice. He's one of the hardest, if not the hardest workers on the team. And to go through what he went through and to now be playing at the highest level that he's playing at, dominating guys up front and being able to move positions. I mean, it's a testimony to his work ethic and how, he's treated every single day as the Super Bowl. And that's just how he is. So I'm, it makes me very comfortable in the pocket when you got a guy like that leading the way.
Rich Scarcella, new bias, you're on deck.
Sean, when you think about the best performances of your career to date, what can you draw from those games that you can apply to, say, this game this week?
I think that just, playing within myself, but still making the big plays, converting on the explosives and just making sure that, I'm playing the way I know I'm capable of playing. Those are the biggest games for me. But, for this one specifically, you can't really, nothing from Ball State is going to help me in this game, and nothing from, Wisconsin specifically is going to help me. From obviously the experiences and seeing different things will help, but there's not one play that I'll get from Wisconsin that'll be in Auburn. So, the score is going to be 0-0 when it starts. So it doesn't really matter what I've done in the past or what I haven't done in the past. So.
Good time for a couple more guys. New bias Wilborn and then Greg Pickle on deck.
You mentioned not being able to know what the whiteout is unless you attend it. What were your memories of your first one, and how have you kind of expressed that to teammates going forward?
It's hard to describe because I mean, Penn State fans bring the energy every weekend, but it's hard to describe. And I don't really describe it to the guys that much, just because I just say you got to experience it when you experience it. So I know guys are excited about it. I'm excited for the guys that couldn't experience it last year because of COVID. It just wasn't the same, obviously, with no fans. So, and people like my brother who just got here, being able to share that experience with them is going to be fun this weekend.
I'll go last question to Greg Pickle.
Sean, we've seen a lot of 2 and 3, even 3 tight end sets so far through the first 2 games. How would you evaluate the play of Brenton Strange, Theo Johnson, and Tyler Warren so far?
Yeah, I think they're all doing really good things. I think that they're all talented in their own ways, and their roles are easily expandable because they can all do what they're asked every week. They can all block, they can all run routes, and they can all catch the football. So it's easy to bring them in into a 20 or like a 12 personnel or a 13 personnel. And it's easy to switch them in and out when it's in 11. So, it makes, I think Coach Yursich's job a lot more fun because he can play with so many different personnels and draw up so many different plays to see different looks. So, they're doing a really good job currently, and I'm excited going forward with them.
All right. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, everyone, for joining us.